I've lived in Georgia my whole life, and I've always wanted a piece of property that I could call my own. So this week we're on our home turf right here in Georgia. Me with a muzzleloader, Denise with her rifle, and our daughter Ashley with her rifle.
McWhorter Custom Rifles presents
Welcome back, folks. This week we're on our home turf right here in Georgia. Me with a muzzleloader, Denise with her rifle, and our daughter Ashley with her rifle. These big bucks in Georgia are in trouble. You don't want to miss this.
Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by McWhorter Custom Rifles, McMillan Fiberglass Stocks, Swarovski Optic, Hornady Ammunition, and Borden Accuracy.
So we got our muzzleloader all loaded up. Georgia muzzleloader season starts tomorrow. I'm gonna be shooting the big boy load. My longest shot will be 500 yards on a property that we call the airstrip. So I'm just gonna start out shooting it at 500. I've shot it at closer ranges earlier in the week, and just wanna make sure I can make the most lengthy shot that'll be required on this hunt. So here we go. Whew, that's perfect. That's dead center at 500 yards. If the Big 8 comes out, he's toast. 45 XML, baddest muzzleloader on the planet. I've lived in Georgia my whole life, and I've always wanted a piece of property that I could call my own. So 4 or 5 years ago, we got fortunate enough to be able to buy an old golf course that's adjacent to my shop property. It's not a huge place, and it had been closed down for several years and no longer operating as a golf course. But the fairways now have been turned into food plots, and the lakes where all the golf balls accumulated, they have turned into fishing spots. So I'm very blessed to have a place like this, but up till this year, never shot a deer off of it. And we've been feeding them and doing the surveys and having a good time doing that, just watching the young bucks, and just hadn't found a good mature shooter until this year. And this year we actually found several of them.
So Allan had this grand idea that we would take the shell of a metal building that was on the old golf course and turn it into our house. And granted, I love the house that we lived in, but I was all about getting out in the country and having some space around us and just going back to my old country life I grew up with. But his brother took on the task of turning this into our dream house. But it's nothing that I ever dreamed that I would live in. Don't get me wrong, it's not a mansion, but it's the nicest place I've ever lived, and I got my hands in it, got dirty, got sweaty, turned into a carpenter helping Allan's brother build this house. So I'm especially proud of all of it.
As I said before, I'd never killed a deer on my own place. We just vowed that we weren't going to shoot a trophy buck unless he was, 5 years old. And that's what I did this year. This deer that I decided to go after was a big bully deer. He was 256 pounds on the hoof and 20-inch 8-pointer that was in the 140s. Not a big scoring deer, but still a trophy in Georgia and a buck that had reached a mature age, and we decided we were going to take out of the herd. All right, well, Denise had an appointment this afternoon, so she couldn't make it. So I had left everything in the blind ready for us. And I decided I'd get through working today and come on in here. So I've already seen about 10 or 12 deer, and October the 13th is about the 5th day of the Georgia muzzleloader season. And I got one more day tomorrow. I think Denise is going to join me tomorrow afternoon after work. Rest of the day and tomorrow to hunt Georgia muzzleloader season. About the last 45 minutes of the hunt, and all of a sudden, my bully 8 walks out. He walks over to this young buck, kind of spars with him a little bit. I'm busy trying to get both cameras on him and get everything rolling. I get back into the 45 XML, and I tell myself, as soon as he turns broadside and gives me a good shot away from that other deer, I'm gonna kill him. It seemed like an eternity. Finally, he took a step back from the 8-pointer, was broadside. The safety was off on the 45 XML, and at 456 yards, I center punched him. I decided I'd give him a little time, though I thought I'd made a perfect shot. Called my son Kyle to help me do the recovery, and about 30 minutes later, he showed up. It had gotten dark, and we found the buck 60 yards from where I shot him. What a buck! We got some history with this buck. We've got trail camera pictures from years ago. We found his shed last year. He's a 5-year-old this year, and when they get 5-year-old in Georgia, they're pretty smart. This is the first buck that I've taken off of my land. I said I wasn't gonna shoot one unless he was 5, and this one's 5, and he's a pretty deer.
This segment is brought to you by Board and Accuracy, makers of the most accurate custom hunting actions on the market. Manufactured in the USA to true bench rest tolerances. Board and Accuracy equals success.
So before we ever decided to live on this property, we had put in a big food plot on one area. It's about 15 acres of food plot. And this deer showed up one evening when Allan and I were hunting, and this food plot's about 400 yards plus long. We're talking back and forth about him, but he just looked strange. I mean, his antlers were wacky, to put it as nicely as I can.
We started calling him the Carabuck because he just had the weirdest antlers every year. We found one shed that had 12 points on one side, and that would have been in his 6-year-old year.
And I started hunting this deer. It became my mission. Allan is out of town on a hunt that I didn't go on, and I finally get to sit in this blind that we had been seeing him on trail camera. And the wind was completely wrong to see anything out behind the blind. So I'm just sitting there looking out. I've got the camera, I've got my rifle, and got a lot going on in the blind, as anybody knows when you're filming yourself. And I kind of just eased around and looked over my shoulder, and I see a deer. So I look, turn around, get my binoculars, and I see antlers immediately. I'm like, no way, it's not. I turn completely around and look at him, and I, honest to goodness, don't even know what to do, because there stands Carabuck hobbling away. I don't even know how long he's been out there. I just hadn't been paying attention. Full daylight. But he quickly got out of my scope view. I got him back in that. He's out of the camera view, and he's behind a pine tree. And I'm just like, I can't let this moment go. So I'm sorry, y'all, there's no kill footage. I moved myself where I got him in my scope, and I dropped him.
Well, y'all, there was no way for me by myself to get this filmed. I managed to get him on camera, it looked like, with a little clear focus, but I moved the camera trying quickly to try to get a better vantage point and share this experience with y'all, and completely lost him on the camera, I think. We'll see. But he's down there. I'm looking at him, and we're gonna get out and I cannot wait. I'm gonna get my hands on this deer that I have been hunting for 4 years. I'm so excited, y'all. And I'm here all by myself. This has been a long time coming, y'all. This is a deer that we nicknamed Carabuck, which you can kind of see why. We don't know what happened to this deer to cause him to be like this, but we do have a bit of a clue. His left front leg is frozen bent. Can't use it at all. We saw this deer 5 years ago, right at dark, weren't real sure what we were looking at, and it was too late when we kind of figured it out. It was too dark. But we've had him on camera every year since then, completely nocturnal, crippled up old deer, but he is a true warrior. He's a survivor until today, and I thank the Lord for giving me the opportunity to harvest this buck. Beautiful animal in his own way.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by Extreme Wildlife Adventures, Hoff Power Auto and Outdoor Stores, Surge Pro by Biofac Crop Care, Ultimate Antler Deer Feed, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, and Mesquite Creek Taxidermy.
Hello folks, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about muzzleloaders, and we're not going to talk about just any muzzleloader, your daddy's or your granddaddy's muzzleloader. We're going to talk about the baddest muzzleloader on the planet, the McWhorter Rifles 45 XML. This is a bullet-to-bore 45 caliber muzzleloader that'll shoot a Pittman 325 grain bullet 3,100 feet a second. It shoots smokeless or it shoots black powder. Black powder is just as accurate, it's just not going to be quite as fast. Shoot the same bullet about 2,500 feet a second. And you're going to have to clean a little bit more. But most states let you use smokeless powder. Where you can't, you've always got the option to use black powder. So this gun is made for pre-sized bullets. We size all those at our shop and we keep that on record, so when you call and order more bullets, we got you taken care of. And it's real easy to load. It's very safe. You always put your rod down in and make sure that your gun is unloaded. So it's unloaded. We're going to take our pre-measured powder charge and our funnel. That closes off all the muzzle brake ports. Pour it in slowly. Remove the funnel. Take our pre-sized Pittman 325 grain bullet and just seat it right to our seated line. It's loaded. We're going to put our rod back in. The gun's still perfectly safe because it's not armed. And now we're going to take our bipod and let it down. And we're going to take our proprietary ignition cartridge. Shoots a Magnum 215 primer. This ignition cartridge is reusable as many times as you ever want to shoot it. Doesn't expand the primer pockets. You push that up, got your safety on, close it, and we're ready to shoot. So we know what it'll do. We're going to start out at 500 yards, 11 minutes. What kind of wind have I got there, Keith?
I see a slight right to left. Give me a dead hold.
All right, here we go. Woo! Right on the point of the shoulder. 500 yards. That's a piece of cake with these. These are easily 600-yard guns in capable hands with a little bit of instruction, right?
Absolutely, and like from being a long-range guy, these are definitely the most accurate and truly a long-range muzzle loader. And like we've even had up to a 5-inch group at 800 yards with these, with capable hands and the right training and everything.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a weapon. There's a lot of states that only have muzzleloader seasons, or they have shotgun seasons where you can use muzzleloader. This will outshoot any factory centerfire out there. They're all guaranteed half MOA, and they'll even do better. At 100 yards, if you ever shoot a bullet that's not touching another bullet, you didn't make a good shot. So that's what they are, 45 XML, the baddest muzzleloader on the planet. And that's your downrange tip, brought to you by Allan and Keith and McWhorter Custom Rifles.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by McWhorter True Precision Long Range Hunting and Shooting School, Tacticam, Leo Photo USA, Sig Sauer, Trigger Tech, Brux Barrels, and Hawkins Precision. This segment is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, real Texas barbecue.
My daughter is 26 years old now, and she and I have always been very close. Her name is Ashley, and she doesn't get to go hunting a lot, but she's a whole lot like me in personality all the way, and she loves it. But we had this deer on trail camera that we nicknamed Hightower. He was kind of heavy. His antlers went way up, but real tight, had a nice tight heavy basket. But he was young, and last year in 2021 season we really didn't want to kill him, but Ashley, for whatever reason, she got attached to looking at this deer, and so she was hunting him, and she saw him once with Allan, and he held her back, and she hunted with her brother Dustin, who had been given the skinny on it. Like if she absolutely cannot stand it, she can shoot him, but we really don't want to do it this year. We wanted to see what was gonna happen with him. But we got him on trail camera, and he didn't grow a whole lot in that year, so we felt comfortable. He was a nice mature buck, and Ashley had her heart set on him still, and so we turned her loose on him.
So we had a pretty slow morning this morning. Not much activity going on, but we're back in the stand early this afternoon. Me and Mom went and checked the camera cards this afternoon, and what do you know? Hightower, the buck that I've been hunting since last year, was on there yesterday evening about 6 o'clock during the shooting light, so maybe he'll walk back out and I'll get him.
There was another cull buck that we had given the green light on. He had real short tines on one side and normal on the other, and he'd been like that a couple of years. And another younger 8-point that they both came out very close to us in front of the blind, and they were fighting and bashing horns, and that was really cool. And she's breathing hard, and she finally decides she's going to take this cull buck. Well, the cull buck starts walking away from us up to the other end of the food plot. Well, I pan away over to the left in the very back of the field, and there's Hightower. Put another one in there. Put another one in there. Tell me what happened. Tell me what just happened.
Hightower just went down. He's a beautiful deer.
How far did he run, baby?
He dropped dead in his tracks.
How far was he? You don't even know.
Like 370
379 yards.
Wow. Oh my
That is
God.
a beautiful buck.
I'm shaking. Well, this deer I saw last year on camera. Been hunting him ever since. We wanted to wait another year to see how much bigger he got, and he did. He got a little bigger. And I'm glad that I waited, because I could have killed him last year, had him in the crosshairs, but thankfully I did not. It's my deer, and I got him. Now, there's no better feeling right now. I'm on top of the world.
All three, Allan, myself, and Ashley, took really great deer. Mine was a huge trophy for me, and certainly for Ashley. And Allan hadn't killed a Georgia deer in many years. So it was a monumental year for us at the Bogey Woods.